Your grocery bill is about to get even worse in 2025. I'm not kidding. Food prices are already up nearly 3% from last year, and experts are warning that certain items will absolutely destroy your budget in the coming months. The grocery crisis is real, folks. Today, I'm revealing the 7 specific foods that will literally bankrupt your grocery budget if you're not careful. And trust me, number 4 shocked even me. You need to know about these now before it's too late for your wallet. Food 1. Eggs. Let's talk about eggs, guys. Remember when a dozen eggs cost like $3? Well, those days are gone. The price of eggs has shot up a mind-blowing 41.5% compared to last year. Yeah, you heard that right. Almost half more expensive. I literally did a double take at the grocery store last week when I saw $7 for a carton of eggs. What's happening? It's this crazy bird flu situation that just won't quit. This highly pathogenic avian influenza, fancy name for a nasty problem, has been decimating chicken flocks since 2022. And here's the scary part. The USDA says it's still going strong in 2025. When these flocks get infected, millions of egg-laying hens have to be culled. Fewer chickens means fewer eggs, and boom, prices skyrocket. And get this, it's about to get even worse. The latest forecast from the Economic Research Service shows eggs could increase by another 33.2% throughout 2025. Some experts are predicting we might see up to a 49.5% increase in the worst-case scenario. That's absolutely insane. Think about what this means for your everyday life. That simple breakfast of scrambled eggs? Now it's a luxury. Those cookies you love to bake with the kids? The cost of ingredients just doubled. I've started telling my friends to think of eggs as liquid gold. My neighbor Jenny actually started raising backyard chickens last month because she couldn't afford store eggs for her family of 5 anymore. The craziest part? Even though prices dropped a bit in April and May, they're still way higher than normal, and experts say we're in for another spike this summer. If eggs are a staple in your house like they are in mine, your breakfast budget is in serious trouble. And don't even get me started on what this means for all those baked goods and recipes that need eggs. Food 2. Beef and veal. Look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're a meat lover like me, you might want to sit down for this one. Beef prices have absolutely skyrocketed. We're talking 8.6% higher than just last year. And it's not slowing down at all. I was literally standing in the grocery store last week, staring at a package of ground beef thinking, wasn't this $4.99 just a few months ago? Now it's pushing $7 for the same amount. It's insane. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. American cattle farmers are getting absolutely crushed right now. Years of devastating drought have dried up grazing land, forcing them to buy expensive feed. And with grain prices through the roof, many smaller ranchers just can't afford to stay in business anymore. Plus, those rising interest rates? They're making it nearly impossible for farmers to get affordable loans to keep their operations running. The USDA is reporting that beef prices have been climbing steadily every single month this year. January, up 2%. February, another 1.6%, March 1st. 6% again. And it just keeps going. Think about what this means for your family meals. That Sunday roast? Now a luxury item. Burgers for the cookout? Better be prepared to spend double. And don't even get me started on steaks. What used to be a nice weekend treat is now basically a financial decision. But listen, I've found a way to still enjoy beef without taking out a second mortgage. Here's my hack. Build relationships with local farmers or join a meat share program. I started doing this last month and saved nearly 30% compared to supermarket prices. The quality is actually better, and you're supporting local businesses. Another tip? Learn to love the cheaper cuts. Chuck roast, flank steak, and brisket can be amazingly delicious when cooked properly, and they cost way less than those fancy ribbies. Trust me, with beef prices predicted to climb another 4.4% before the end of the year, making these changes now could literally save your family hundreds of dollars. The meat crisis is real, but you don't have to be a victim of it. Food 3. Fresh produce. Look, I grabbed some blueberries at the store yesterday and nearly dropped them when I saw the price tag. $11 for one tiny container. And that's just the beginning, folks. Fresh produce is about to get scary expensive, and I'm talking about the stuff we need to stay healthy, not luxury items. According to Yale's Budget Lab research from April, the new tariffs are expected to drive up fresh produce prices by a whopping 5.4% right away. That's not a typo, 5.4%, and it's hitting imported fruits and vegetables the hardest. I was literally talking to my neighbor Sarah about this yesterday, and she said her family's produce bill has already jumped almost $40 a month since January. That's insane. Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. President Trump's 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada, plus that 10% on Chinese imports. Those countries supply a huge portion of our fresh produce. Avocados, berries, tomatoes, all that good stuff we love is coming from these countries, and now there's basically a tax on bringing it here. The grocery chains aren't eating that cost, trust me. They're passing it straight to us, and our salads are paying the price. Literally. But wait, it gets worse. The climate crisis is making everything more unpredictable. 2024 was officially the first year to break the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit, and 2025 is showing no signs of cooling down. We've already seen heavy flooding in major growing regions and drought in others. Weather extremes are destroying crops before they even have a chance. I was watching this farmer on TikTok last week, guy in California, showing how his entire strawberry crop was ruined by that freak heat wave in April. His whole livelihood, gone in 3 days. And guess what? That means fewer strawberries for all of us, and the ones that survive cost more. And don't think seasonal changes will save you anymore. Remember when summer meant cheaper produce? Those days are fading fast. The USDA is forecasting consistent price hikes regardless of season because the problems are system-wide now. Supply chains are still a mess from the pandemic, and labor shortages mean it costs more to pick, pack, and ship everything. I used to wait for summer to stock up on zucchini when it was dirt cheap, but now the price barely drops at all. The real gut punch? The average family could see their annual grocery bill jump by about $185 just from these tariff effects alone. If you're on a tight budget, that's devastating, and it's hitting lower income families the hardest. They already spend about 30% of their income on food, compared to the national average of 12.9%. I've literally seen people at the store putting produce back when they get to the register. It's heartbreaking. I noticed it myself last week. Bell peppers that used to be $2 each are now almost $4. My salads are literally costing twice as much as they did last year. And imported specialty items? Just forget about it unless you've got cash to burn. Those dragon fruits and mangoes might as well be actual gold with the way prices are heading. So what should you do? I'm tracking prices like a hawk now and buying local when possible. Farmers markets sometimes have better deals than supermarkets these days, and at least you're cutting out those shipping costs. But honestly, frozen produce might be your best friend this year. It's usually picked at peak ripeness and frozen right away, so you're not losing nutrition. I've started buying those big bags of frozen mixed veggies and berries. They're about half the price of fresh right now. Oh, and if you have even a tiny balcony or windowsill, growing herbs and small veggies can save you a fortune. My little basil plant has saved me like $30 already this year. Just a thought to keep your budget from completely imploding while still getting those essential nutrients we all need. Food for. Sugar and sweets. Look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your sweet tooth is about to cost you big time. Sugar and sweets are seeing a crazy price jump. We're talking a 3.4% increase expected throughout 2025 according to the latest USDA data. And this isn't just about the bag of sugar sitting in your pantry. Think about it. I was at the store yesterday and nearly dropped my basket when I saw what they're charging for a simple chocolate bar these days. It's insane. And it's not just treats. This affects literally everything you bake at home. Those cookies your kids love, that birthday cake, all costing way more. But here's the really sneaky part that most people don't realize. Sugar is hiding in practically everything in your cart. Your pasta sauce has it. Your bread has it. Even that healthy granola bar is loaded with it. The Yale Budget Lab just released a report showing that these hidden sugars in processed foods are silently inflating your grocery bill across the board. And honestly, the timing couldn't be worse. With the recent tariffs hitting imported goods, some specialty sweeteners and chocolate products from places like Mexico are getting hit twice as hard. I talked to a local bakery owner last week who told me she's had to raise prices on everything just to stay afloat. Now, let me drop some shocking stats on you. Did you know that the average American consumes about 77 pounds of sugar each year? That's like eating 35-pound bags of sugar. And at today's prices, that adds up to serious cash. The British Retail Consortium is forecasting food prices to jump another 4.2% by the end of 2025, with sugary products leading the charge in many categories. Here's something wild. Cocoa prices have hit record highs this year, which means chocolate products are becoming luxury items. I literally saw a standard chocolate bar for $4.99 last week that was $2.99 just a year ago. That's a 67% increase. Companies are getting sneaky, too. Have you noticed how many candy bars and cookies have shrunk while prices have gone up? It's called shrinkflation, and it's happening everywhere. Climate change is making everything worse, too. Sugar crops in Brazil and India have been hammered by extreme weather, and supply chains are still a mess from global disruptions. All this trickles down to your local grocery store shelves. What can you do? I've found a few workarounds that actually help. First, buying store brands can save you about 30% on sweet items. They often use the exact same ingredients as name brands. Second, consider natural sweeteners like honey bought in bulk, which hasn't seen the same price jumps. And third, this one's been a game changer for my family, start making simple desserts from scratch using basic ingredients. My banana bread costs about a third of what the store charges, and my kids actually prefer it. Oh, and here's my secret weapon: local farmers markets. I found this amazing local honey producer who sells directly to consumers at prices that haven't budged in 2 years. Plus, buying seasonal fruits when they're abundant and freezing them gives you sweet options year-round without the premium prices. The craziest thing? The Federal Trade Commission found that food manufacturers' profit margins hit 7% in 2023, a new record high. So while they blame inflation for price increases, some companies are absolutely cashing in on these trends. They're banking on us not changing our habits. Listen, I'm not saying you have to cut out all the joy from life, but being smart about your sweet purchases might just save your budget from completely melting down this year. Trust me, your wallet will thank you later, and your health probably will too. What sweet items have you noticed costing way more lately? Drop it in the comments. Food 5. Non-alcoholic beverages. Let me tell you about what's happening with your morning coffee and favorite drinks, because oh my goodness, it's getting crazy out there. Non-alcoholic beverages are set to jump 2.3% higher this year, and that might not sound like much until you realize how often you're buying these things. I mean, we're talking about something most of us buy multiple times a week, if not daily. Look, I was at the store last week and nearly dropped my basket when I saw coffee prices. A bag that used to cost me $8.99 is now sitting at $12.49. And it's not just coffee. Juice prices are through the roof too. Remember when orange juice was affordable? Those days are gone. I literally saw a half gallon of OJ for $7.99 the other day. What in the world is happening? Here's the thing. Most people don't know. Extreme weather is absolutely destroying coffee crops worldwide. 2024 officially broke the 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming barrier, and coffee plants are super sensitive to these changes. Droughts in Brazil and floods in Vietnam are wrecking harvests left and right. My friend who works in imports told me that some specialty coffee farms lost 40% of their crops last season. 40%. Can you imagine losing almost half your income? That's what these farmers are dealing with. And don't even get me started on soda. The manufacturers keep shrinking those bottles while charging the same price. You're literally getting less for more money every single time. They think we don't notice, but come on. That 2-liter bottle is now 1.75 liters, but the price stayed exactly the same. It's that sneaky shrinkflation thing happening right under our noses. What's really scary? The Yale Budget Lab just released a report showing that with the new tariffs, imported beverages could cost families an extra $185 per year. That's just on drinks alone. And those fancy coffee shop drinks? If you're grabbing a $5 latte 5 days a week, that's over $1,300 a year just on morning coffee. Insane, right? But I've found some simple switches that are saving me a ton. Instead of buying bottled iced tea, I make a big batch at home for about 80% less. And those fancy coffee pods? Absolute budget killers. A regular coffee maker with grounds saves me nearly $600 a year. I started using a reusable water bottle with a filter instead of buying cases of bottled water, and honestly, I'm saving like $40 a month just from that one change. The craziest part is that these drink prices are hitting lower income families way harder. While higher income households might not notice, families in the lowest income bracket spend nearly a third of their money on food, and beverages are a big chunk of that. The USDA data shows that the bottom 20% of earners are spending over 30% of their income on food now. That's just not sustainable for most people. Don't let these drink prices drain your bank account. Trust me, with a few smart swaps, you can beat the beverage crisis without giving up your morning caffeine fix or afternoon refreshment. I've started experimenting with making my own cold brew at home, and it costs me about 50 cents a cup instead of $5 at the coffee shop. And honestly, it tastes even better because I make it exactly how I like it. Oh, and here's a little secret. Store brands for things like seltzer water and juice are often literally the exact same product as the name brands, just with a different label. The factory just changes the packaging between runs. My cousin works at one of these bottling plants, and he confirmed it's the same stuff going into different bottles. So why pay double for the fancy label? Your wallet will thank you later. Food. 6. Cereal and bakery products. Listen, I literally had to do a double take at the cereal aisle last week. My favorite box of cereal, the one my kids eat every single morning, jumped up nearly $2. And it's not just me noticing this. The latest data shows cereal and bakery products shot up 1.1% in May alone. That might not sound like much, but when you're already paying $6 for a box of cereal, that adds up fast. Here's what's really going on behind the scenes. Grain prices are through the roof right now. Weather issues last year messed up harvests, and then the processing costs. Don't even get me started. The companies making these products are dealing with higher labor costs and transportation expenses, and guess who they're passing all that on to? Us, the everyday shoppers just trying to feed our families. And honestly, this is just the beginning. Trump's new tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China are expected to push food prices up even more. Yale's Budget Lab is predicting these tariffs could cost the average American family nearly $5,000 this year. That's insane money just vanishing from your budget. And cereal companies? They're already warning about price increases coming in the fall. Think about it. These aren't luxury items we're talking about. These are your everyday breakfast staples. The sandwich bread for school lunches, the bagels you grab on busy mornings, the stuff we buy week after week. And the British Retail Consortium is predicting food prices could jump another 4.2% in the second half of 2025. That's terrifying for anyone on a budget. What's crazy is how sneaky companies are being about this. Have you noticed packages getting smaller while prices stay the same? It's called shrinkflation, and it's happening everywhere. That box of cereal that used to be 18 ounces is now 15.5 ounces. But the price? Still the same or higher. Your favorite bread that was 24 ounces is now 20 ounces. They think we won't notice, but come on. We're not stupid. And let me tell you about the flour situation. Bakers, you know what I'm talking about. Flour prices have doubled in some areas since 2022. Double. I used to make bread at home to save money, but now even that's getting expensive. Between the flour, yeast, and the electricity to run the oven, the savings aren't what they used to be. So, what can you actually do? I've been testing some alternatives that are saving my family serious cash. Store brands have come a long way, guys. I switched to my grocery store's generic cereal, and honestly, my kids didn't even notice the difference. Another game changer, buying in bulk when there's a sale and freezing extra bread. Bread prices are up 8% since last year, but freezing it extends the shelf life for months. Oh, and those fancy breakfast pastries? Try making a big batch of muffins or pancakes on the weekend and freezing the extras. You'll thank me when you see how much you're saving. I've also started shopping at discount grocery stores for these items specifically. Places like Aldi and Lidl have cereal for literally half the price of name brands at regular supermarkets. And their bakery items? Just as good, sometimes better. My neighbor Jenny started a bread sharing group where 4 families take turns baking large batches and sharing with each other. They're saving like 70% on bread costs and getting fresh baked goods. Look, I'm not saying you have to give up your morning toast or your kid's favorite cereal, but being smart about these purchases could save you hundreds over the next year. And with everything else getting more expensive, we need every dollar we can get, right? Trust me, your wallet will thank you, and your family probably won't even notice the difference. I know mine didn't. Food. 7. Chocolate and cocoa products. Look, I never thought I'd say this, but your chocolate addiction is about to get really expensive. Like, painful to your wallet expensive. Cocoa prices hit record highs this year, and it's getting crazy out there. Let me tell you what happened to me last week. I grabbed my usual chocolate bar at the checkout, and I almost dropped it when I saw the price tag. $4 for what used to cost me $2. That's not just inflation, that's highway robbery. Here's the shocking truth nobody's talking about. People are actually spending more money on chocolate this year while buying less of it. I'm not making this up. The latest research shows shoppers are cutting back on how many chocolate products they buy, but still paying more overall. It's like we're all trapped in this weird chocolate prison, paying premium prices for smaller treats. And it's not just the fancy artisanal stuff that's getting more expensive. Even your basic everyday chocolate brands are jacking up prices left and right. Have you noticed how those bags of chocolate chips for baking are suddenly tiny? Or how those family-sized chocolate bars somehow shrunk while the price went up? Yeah, that's not your imagination. That's shrinkflation on top of inflation, a double whammy to your wallet. Why is this happening? Well, extreme weather has devastated cocoa crops, and there's massive supply chain issues still lingering from the pandemic. West Africa, where most of the world's cocoa comes from, has been hit with brutal droughts followed by flooding, literally the worst possible conditions for growing cocoa. And get this, experts are saying these climate patterns aren't going away anytime soon. We're looking at years of chocolate price hikes, not just a temporary blip. Plus, honestly, companies know we'll still buy chocolate even when they jack up the prices. It's basically the definition of an emotional purchase, right? Who doesn't grab chocolate when they're stressed, tired, or need a quick mood boost? The big chocolate companies are counting on our emotional attachment to keep sales up despite the crazy prices. The really insane part? Some analysts are predicting chocolate could become a genuine luxury item by next year. I'm talking about basic milk chocolate bars being treated like premium products. There are already reports of some stores putting those anti-theft devices on regular chocolate bars. Can you imagine? The same security tags they put on expensive electronics, now on your Hershey's bar. That's how bad it's getting. And look, I get it. Sometimes you just need that chocolate fix. We're all human. But there are smarter ways to satisfy your sweet tooth without emptying your wallet. I've started buying those chocolate-covered pretzels from the store brand instead of the fancy truffles. My kids actually prefer them, and they cost half as much. Another hack? Dark chocolate tends to be more satisfying in smaller amounts, so you naturally eat less of it. Plus, baking your own chocolate treats at home can stretch your chocolate budget way further. A bag of chocolate chips can make dozens of cookies for the price of a few pre-made chocolate bars. The harsh reality is that chocolate is quickly becoming a luxury item rather than an everyday treat. Remember when our parents would tell us stories about how candy bars used to cost a nickel? Well, we're about to become those people, telling our kids about the good old days when chocolate was affordable. And if you're thinking, I'll just wait until after Halloween when all the candy goes on sale, I hate to break it to you, but even seasonal chocolate sales aren't what they used to be. Last year's post-holiday discounts were pathetic compared to years past. So what's the move here? If you're serious about saving money, you might need to rethink your relationship with chocolate. Maybe it becomes a once-a-week treat instead of an everyday indulgence. Or maybe you explore alternatives like carob or those new plant-based chocolate substitutes. They're not exactly the same, but hey, neither is your bank account after buying chocolate these days. Whatever you do, just be prepared, because that chocolate craving is about to come with a serious side of sticker shock. All right, let's get practical about surviving this food price nightmare. First, meal planning isn't just for health nuts. It literally saves you hundreds. I started planning meals around what's on sale, not what I'm craving, and my grocery bill dropped by 30%. Second, store brands are seriously good now. Most are made in the exact same factories as the fancy stuff. Third, use those grocery apps. They're not just for tech-savvy kids. I saved $43 last month just by scanning receipts. And remember, this crisis hits hardest for families already struggling. If you're fortunate enough to have extra, consider donating to your local food bank. They're seeing record demand right now. So there you have it. Eggs, beef, fresh produce, sugar, beverages, cereal, and chocolate are the 7 foods demolishing budgets across America. It's rough out there, but we've survived tough times before, and we'll get through this too. The key is staying informed and adapting. Drop your best money-saving grocery hacks in the comments. I read every single one, and we're all in this together. Next week, I'm revealing the 5 stores secretly charging you more than others for the exact same products. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one.